Good afternoon, fellow patriots and defenders of democracy. Welcome to me talking to you. You know, we're still here in the same place, doing the same thing, running behind schedules, just like we'd assume, because once again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, check the other video and we'll move right along. Today, we're going to talk about one of America's great institutions, and by one of America's great institutions, we're talking about an American institution that brought us one of the greatest specimens on the planet, Jason Bourne. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we're talking about MIT. Now, if you don't understand how great Jason Bourne is, I don't know, check, how do we watch movies now? Check Netflix, Amazon Prime, whatever the hell else we got. Oh, HBO Max. I'm certain he's not on Disney because that's too violent. But Jason Bourne, the dude who speaks 10 plus languages and can beat the bejesus out of you with a magazine. So we, ladies and gentlemen, are going to put some respect on that man's name. Put some respect on it. Now that we can all agree that MIT is one of those brilliant places that most of us can't get in because we're not that damn smart, and the acceptance rate is about 7%, which means 100% of us are stupid, and the buildings need 7% of the people that apply there to clean it, so that's why the 7% people are accepted. Now, we're going to continue forward and go, hey, MIT, one of those brilliant places where their graduates aren't consistently linked to destroying the planet. You hear that? Harvard, Yale, Stanford, you know, you people that usually cause financial crashes and destruction and widespread problems every goddamn where. We're talking to you. We're about to talk about something that's related to the way I look. Black people. And we're going to talk about something that MIT decided to point out because they have a bunch of people over there who are very good at math. They're talking about black home ownership, and apparently that all else being considered, black homeowners are paying more money for the very same thing as white America. I'm not sure who financed this study, but today I would like to apply for a grant to tell you that water is wet and the sky is up in the air. And every time someone says, hey, my loved one is looking down at me from heaven, doesn't necessarily mean that, because I'm still trying to figure out why is it everybody thinks that their family member means the cut and they're not talking to us from down below. Now, in the event you don't believe in any of that, let's just move right along. Now, MIT presenting this notion that black people are paying more for their mortgages, which in turn impact all their financial sectors of their life, isn't being brought to you by someone screaming Black Lives Matter or the token guy at your job talking about he's being treated unfairly. We're talking about math. And if there's one thing here that we would like to hold outside of our wonderful political realm of reality, where we still have 1 + 1 = 2 and we don't really argue on the ideology of it, it's math. As long as we have 1 + 1 = 2, the world will still continue spinning in the appropriate direction. What we're here to talk about basically is, how much money is it? Is it just the guy who's skipping out on picking up the bar tab? Or is it a large enough sum? To be quite frank, we're talking about $130,000. I'm not really sure about you, but I'm going to assume we're not that good of friends if you're willing to screw me out of 130 grand. See? Well, this is where the breakdown comes. It's $740 in higher interest rates, $550 in mortgage insurance premium, and $390 in property taxes. I'm assuming they're talking about the median here because smart people that attend MIT or work in their finance department shouldn't be using averages. And I'm going to go on the benefit of the doubt and not call any of those smart people morons. The shortchanging or overcharging equates to about $67,000 over 30 years if invested, which in turn impacts everybody's financial future because 70% of Americans don't have enough money saved up for retirement as it sits. So there goes another goddamn problem. But they're saying that this is directly linked to minorities not having as good a credit and not having as much in regards to down payment. Because if you have 20% for your house down payment, in the event you live in a big place like or let me clean that up. In the event you live in a highly populated area like New York, where the median price for a house is $500,000, $500,000, 20% of that is $100,000. Most Americans don't have $2,000 saved up. So, as much as you could say black people don't have that much saved up, the majority of America doesn't have that much money saved up for anything. However, people are still finding that black people are still paying more, all else being equal. The other thing about this that I am not really going to co-sign is people's bad credit. Bad credit is a reflection of you not paying your bills. Now, if you just decide to run up a bill and not pay it, I'm not here to entertain you and your shit. The other aspect of bad credit is, all else being equal, black people aren't getting paid equally to their counterparts if they're equally coming in across the board. Do not move what I just said to rationalize your point. This right now is impacting a lot of homeowners because essentially right now, during this wonderful coronavirus time, you can refinance your home at a lower interest rate. Right now, I think the average is about 2.8. But if you were in a very good situation, you could even get down to 1.9. I think I saw a company saying they'll charge you about $11,000 or $12,000 to get down into that range. But that means that you need to own a home or plan on staying in a home for a very long time to be able to recoup the costs attached to that. Now, because people have poor credit or a bad credit history, they cannot refinance their house, which in essence would allow them to get the same quality of home for a cheaper price compared to their counterparts. This isn't really a smorgasbord just to say, hey, the world is falling. Well, maybe I said that wrong. This isn't to excuse you from being responsible. Do not put your children's name on things that will impact their credit history or credit future going forward. Why we should also acknowledge that within the marketplace, you're going to be paid less. So you should understand that. You should understand the added risk. Within all else being equal, they've found studies like this where people giving out auto loans charge black people or minorities more interest, all else being considered, because as the system is set up, we carry a lot of other burdens or the ability or need to prove or validate a lot of things. No one is saying that's fair. However, we all need to function in the world that is, and not the world we're creating in our heads, until we get the world to change or progress forward enough to acknowledge some of these things. Essentially, we have to cross all the I's and dot all the T's a little bit more meticulously to get to where we need to go, which in turns mean we need to be a little bit more accountable for a lot of other things. No, I am not saying we shouldn't address these issues, or we shouldn't try to move forward and do it, or we should just use these articles and studies that are highlighted by the top universities in the country to say, hey, the world is failing and we should just give up and never try. That's not what I'm saying. It's not what I'm implying. However, knowledge does prepare you for the real world and what's going on outside in it. And we all need to come together and realize that eventually we need to address a lot of things and try to help us all move forward, because the weakest link in the chain does define the strength of the chain, unless we're just trying to make sure that one part of the chain consistently keeps breaking, which in turn kind of impacts everybody's quality of life, because you're going to still need to function around these people. These people, each other. Hey, MIT, Jason Bourne, 10 languages, beating people's with magazines. But this is the digital age, so I'm not really sure if that would be the iPad. Back to the thing that we're talking about. Interest rates, credit worthiness. embracing knowledge, preparing yourself, and holding yourself somewhat accountable to the higher standard that you're going to be held to could help you make things smoother for yourself going forward. I am not saying, I don't even need to say that anymore. Just realize that this is what's happening. Take the information, do what you'd like with it. Hey, if you made it this far in here, like, comment, subscribe. I don't know. You know how to work YouTube. Don't act like you don't know how this YouTube thing works. Hook a brother up. It's for free. I'm not asking you for nothing. I'm not selling you nothing either. Until next time.